What's going on? It's Ed here from ClicksGeek, and I am back with Rob Warner of PPC Ad Lab. Rob, what's going on?
Ed, it's good to be here. It's a good week. It's a good day.
Absolutely. All right. So Rob's got some interesting news, exciting news coming up about pricing for PPC Ad Lab. So we're going to lead with that, and then we're going to hop into the software. So Rob, what do you got cooking?
So for anybody who doesn't know, PPC Ad Lab is our, I won't say new software, but here's the thing. It's coming up on its first birthday, which is happening right about now. It's a year since we took on our first customer. And that means that we're changing a few things up. If you haven't seen the tool, it's a remarkable tool for anything PPC related. I'm going to show you it in a moment or two's time. And it's grown from, people talk about launching a minimum viable product, an MVP. I think we launched a BVP, a barely viable product. But it's grown a lot since then. And as a result of that, we did some pretty special pricing for our first customers because we appreciate the support they've given us. But we did have to say along with that we had to at some point draw a line and say, everybody can't be special forever. We have to draw a line and say, at some point, our initial founder and charter members are just that, and that those plans go away. So on June 30th, our charter plans are going forever. And we were doing that to honor and respect our customers who've supported us over the first 12 months. And for those people who haven't seen it, give them a last chance to get in on one hell of a deal. Got it.
All right. So June 30th, charter pricing goes away. There'll be a link below that you guys can access. I think it's 50% off or close to 50% off for the charter pricing.
50% off and more.
Okay, cool. So let's actually roll through that. If you want to share your screen, just kind of give an overview of PPC Ad Lab, how the software works, use cases, that kind of stuff. And then if you want to talk about the and more stuff that they might potentially be getting as well if they do make a purchase.
Of course. All right. Hopefully, Ed, can you see my screen okay?
Yeah, I got you now.
All right. So what does PPC Ad Lab do? But at its core, it's a spy tool for people who are advertising on Google. It allows you to find who is advertising in any market, anywhere in the world, on any device. And it does it in real time. So if you look at some of the previous generation of spy tools, they were kind of backward looking and would sample data. PPC Ad Lab doesn't do that. It does it in real time. And it gives you, and I'll tell you how you can use that data in a moment, but I'll show you just how fast and how easily you can get it. So I'm going to do in here is going to do something called add a job. So here we go. So start with typing if I can type. So we'll start with, that is awesome. We're just going to check Google twice. So we're literally going to do 2 checks. And we can, in our scheduling, we can set it to check every hour, every couple of hours, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. I'm going to actually do a custom schedule because I want to do this live while we're here. So I'm going to tell it to do it every 3 minutes. And I need to tell it where to check. I'm going to go to one of my pre-built lists here. I can do zip codes, postcodes, states, cities, counties, airports, pretty much any of the 102,000 locations Google can target, we can target. What I'm going to do is the USA top 25 cities. That's top 25 by population. That doesn't mean my personal opinion as to which is best. But who knows? And we give it some keywords. So let's say, for example, digital marketing agency. I'm going to give it 2. I'm going to tell it to have a look at desktop. So what it's going to do is you can tell it to look at desktop advertisers on mobile. If I want to build a list, I'm interested in who's advertising. I'm going to tell it to use desktop because there's more advertising on the page. I'm going to click go. So that will be running for the next 3 minutes. It's going to check Google twice at a 3 minute interval.
Okay.
So once it's done that, what can we expect back and what the hell can we do with it? So fundamentally, that's great. We can see who's advertising. What can we meaningfully do with it? So let's have a look at a couple of examples of what you can do with it. I'm going to just find a job that I was running the other day. In fact, I've got so many on here that I need to probably distill this a little bit. Okay. So let's have a look at this one. let's look at this. Personal injury lawyers. So for anybody in the personal injury space, you will appreciate this is a highly competitive market. This was checked, just looking at the details here. 100 cities, 10 search terms. That's what that was. Okay. So what's that found for us? First thing it's found is a big list of advertisers. If I go all the way to the end, it's found 35 pages of advertisers. And there's 15 per page. As you can do the math, that's a lot of advertisers. I'm not even going to attempt to do that live on a call. I may be an accountant by training, but I think I'm probably going to screw that one up. So what do we know about these people? Well, first of all, we know who's advertising. We know how many keywords we've seen them on, how many different how many different cities have we seen them in, and how many different ads from them have we seen. We also know if we found their contact information. PPC Ad Lab has the ability in it now to look up contact information. It can look up email. It can look up the business phone number, the business social media profiles. And going live tomorrow, we have an integration with a tool called Coldlytics, which is a manual verified contact lookup. So if you want the best quality lead data you can possibly get your hands on, you can use our Coldlytics integration and actually get real life verified names, emails, phone numbers, which I think is pretty cool.
We've used their software. We used their service before. They have good data and they're very, very fast. Yeah,
exactly. And it's real-time verified. It isn't just an old, out-of-date database.
Right.
It's real-time checked and verified data. So one use case for PPC Ad Lab is people just list building to prospect. So you can see here, I've built a list of, let's call it 500 because I can't do the math quickly, lawyers that I know are advertising on Google. And as we know, anybody advertising on Google, particularly a lawyer, they're spending big money. Legal clicks, as Ed will know very well, are some of the most expensive you can buy.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean? Well, that means you can do a bunch of things. If you want, you could sell them Google Ads services if that was your thing. You could sell them faster landing pages. You could sell them conversion mechanisms, SEO, Facebook ads. The point is, we know they're advertising, we know they're in the game, so let's offer services on the back of that. So if all you want is a list build, that's a really fast way of doing it. Let's take one more step and let's go down this prospecting rabbit hole for a minute. If you wanted to, not only can you do that, you can export all this data, and with it, you can export our data points. Well, we capture lots of unique data about advertising. I'm going to show you it in a minute. You can export all that data into your emailing system and you could send it. Or if you prefer, you can send an email campaign directly through PPC Ad Lab. All you do is you connect up some SMTPs, as many as you want. So if you want to send, from 3 different G Suites or a send grid or a mail gun, just add them and you're good. You can use some email templates. You can use our email templates, or you can create your own. We have a series of email templates in here that we've built that have been proven to work really, really well. And one of the things they do is they use custom data points that we have in our software. So we have some custom data points, like, for example, we saw your ad for this company on this keyword, and we can show them the most competitive keyword directly in the email. And then all we have to do is create a campaign sequence. So that sequence, here you go, a multi-step, multi-day email sequence. So you get the idea that if you wanted to prospect, you can just list build. If you want to actually use it for an automated outreach, you can do. If I flick back to that job that we ran a moment ago, what have we got so far? Oh, all these digital marketing agencies. Who knew? Black Propeller, we've found them in all 25 cities we've searched in so far. I have no idea who Black Propeller are, but they're clearly advertising a lot, as are Centerfield, David Taylor Digital. If any of you guys are from any of those organizations, congrats, you've got some big ads going. So that's purely the does that make sense, F, from a prospecting perspective? You've got list building of the highest value advertisers you can get out there. You've then got outreach if you want to automate your outreach. The way we set it up is on a Monday morning, create a new job, create a campaign to go with it. In 5 minutes, our prospecting for the week is finished. Literally 5 minutes, and we've got a multi-day sequence for every single advertiser we find. It's as highly leveraged as you can get.
Yep, and it hits on what I talk to people about all the time, that if you can avoid the double sale, you're better off. So finding prospects in market that are already using Google Ads, they're sold on that as a product first, and now you just need to sell them on you being the better mousetrap. I think it's an easier sale when you're selling Google Ads management services. So this makes it a lot easier to find people doing it. We used to do this manually and go through and manually do it, but I'm sure you can go through the pros and cons of why that's a disaster. and why.
Oh yeah, it's just, so here's context for that. So a good friend of mine who works with lots of Google Ads agencies and lots of agencies in general, in his agency wanted to do some prospecting, so he hired a virtual assistant. He then found by accident our software, and I had a call with him. And he said, and I recorded this because it was one of the coolest things I've heard from somebody who's well respected and well known. He said, Rob, we put this process in place, put this person in place. Your software found more in 5 minutes than they had in 2 days. And we had far more data points about every advertiser than we could possibly have got with them. So it's kind of like, yeah, it works. In fact, last week I spoke to somebody who were building an outsourced shop in the Philippines to do this manually. They've stopped their recruitment, cancelled the process, and turned the whole thing onto Ad Lab because we can do in a day what they couldn't do with a team in a month.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's kind of highly efficient, I would suggest.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, it's cool when people tell you things like that.
That is. I like those. I like hearing messages like that.
So from a prospecting point of view, you've got lists, you've got emails, but what's more important is that we have data points that we can meaningfully use. So let's have a look at an example. And what do we mean by that? Let me just pick this dentist here. So we know that for this dentist, we checked a few cities and a few keywords for dental industry as to who was advertising. And you can see the summary data here. We saw 185 competitors. They were ranked 78th most visible. They were seen on half the keywords that we searched. They're running 3 ads, and you can see like a whole bunch of data about the different parts of the Google search results here.
Can you,
for example, we know
one piece of information? Well, I think that's important for them to know. Can you talk about the frequency in which your software is searching based on the fact, or just in case someone's thinking like, hey, of course I'm only there 50% of the searches because you only did the search 1 time versus 10 times over X number of days.
Yeah.
Can you walk through that?
So yeah, so we work on a schedule. So you can choose one of our preset schedules, or you can create your own. So you can check, as I just did, at 3-minute intervals. Most of the presets that we have are preset to check hourly, and typically 24/7. If we're building a prospecting list, what I actually like to do is run it 7 days, every 3 hours. Because that way I get to see who's advertising morning, who's advertising evenings, who's advertising overnight, who's runs out of budget. And I can see from their scheduling who the serious players are. So it's not just a one-time check, because there's 1,000 reasons why you won't see an ad on a one-time check. One of the main reasons that you'll see here is, and I'll show you this specifically now, if we look at this keywords, I'm going to look at here for the keyword dentist. I'm just going to filter my report for a second to only show people who are advertising on this one keyword. All right, so filtered that one keyword. I've done the wrong screen. Here we go, competitors. This is the number of competitors advertising on that one search term. Now, this is, I think, 2 or 3 cities. But the point is, what we typically see is a minimum of 30 different advertisers on any search term in any city, in any week. So there's 4 slots on the page. You've got a 4 in 30 chance of being seen at any point in time on that search, even if you're bidding on it. So if you know that that's what's happening, the chances of us seeing any particular advertiser or any particular search are pretty low. And look at the difference here. ZocDoc, we saw 135 times over the course of the week. By the time we were down to what the 5th ranked, it was 37 times. Visibility drops off really quickly. It's really easy to see the big spenders in this place. So to why people won't see themselves, that's why. You'll see yourself sometimes, but people are often shocked and surprised how often they're getting outbid by other people that they just don't know it's happening. Does that make sense then? Did I get that about right for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's staggering, isn't it? Absolutely staggering. And you also see, easy here, how many ads people are running. We'll look at ads in a second, but the point is that all these tabs of data here, from ads to keywords to competition, are all unique data points you can use in your prospecting. So if you are prospecting, the way I do it is we've got a white label version of this that you can set up on your own domain, and it gets rid of all our menus and those kind of things. Send people to your white label version, and you can share all the data points without having to share us. It's your brand, it's your logo, it's you. And here we can see all the ads. So we can see this one ad here we saw 37 times in Chicago. It's clearly a good ad, or at least they think it is. They're showing it an awful lot.
Very cool.
So yeah, so if you like use case, so if use case number 1 was list building and outreach, use case number 2 is sales presenting. Because people have never seen this data before. You can show information here. I mean, have you run enough Google Ads accounts to know this kind of level of detail? You can't get this in Google Ads.
Yep.
You can't see what's going on in the market like this in Google Ads. The only place, well, until now, you couldn't get it at all.
I was just going to say, you can't get this anywhere. You can't get this on the other competitors out there, if you want to call them that. This is not available data. Yeah,
and that's kind of why we built. I didn't build this because I thought it was cool. I built this because I needed it personally. And I was customer number 1 for the tool, and that's why I built it. Because one of the things I believe is if you're using this in sales presentations, you're leading with data your client doesn't know, your prospect doesn't know. Hey, do you want to know who the big dogs are in your market? Do you want to know what the most visible ad copy is in your market? Do you want to know who's turning their ads off at 6 o'clock in an evening, where your biggest opportunities are? It allows you to lead with value. And we kind of then go from sales presenting into account management. And this is one of my favorite things because I am a Google Ads guy at heart. We may be building software, but I've been a Google Ads guy for the last 10 years. This screen here, the ads screen, is one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites because it allows me to understand how my client and I on their behalf need to compete in their local market. So what it means I can do is I can understand 2 things. 1, whose ads am I most likely to be up against for any given keyword? And we can find that out here. So I just got rid of that filter for a second. So I know if I go to my competitors tab, I am most likely to be seeing it against Smile Direct Club or Invisalign.com because they by far are far more visible than anybody else in this space. So if I know that, I then can look at, here's my ads. Let's have a look at the top competitor ads, which I've got here. Okay, if I understand what my competition's saying, I can now write a better ad to beat them. So I now know how to stand out from them. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And it's really easy as a Google Ads manager. We get blinkered, we get siloed into our dashboards. We write an ad and we ran an ad in one place and it worked. So we run the same ad somewhere else and it doesn't work and we don't know why. It's not the ad that's bad. It's the context in which you see it. It's the people it's around. It's different advertisers with different messaging.
Right.
I often say that the battle for the click doesn't take place in your dashboard. It takes place in the search engine results page. So if you want to look at, if you're not looking there, why not? I liken it to, if you're a general going into battle and the aim of the battle was to get a click, you would want to know as much about your enemy as you possibly could. In our cases, lives don't get lost, but money gets wasted or clicks don't get had and customers don't get won. That still doesn't mean you shouldn't know everything you possibly can about your competition. If you want to beat them, know more than they do.
I like it.
So that's one of the things I like to do on this. I like to play with the filters on here. I want to go, okay, show me anybody who's got a dollar sign in their ad copy. What are the price points in the market? Okay, so these are all the ads that have got a dollar sign. All right, now I know what price points I'm up against. My $49.95 offer might not look so good compared to this one. I look for who's got guarantees, who's got free, who's got discounts. Learn the language and the offers and build a better offer.
I like it. Very interesting.
Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. I like it.
So we've walked through quite a lot. I mean, we started at building a list for prospecting. We then looked at the outreach. We've then looked at sales presenting and using the white label list. Now we're talking about Google Ads management. I mean, we're covering a lot of yards here. And if you wanted to use it for client reporting, just download a PDF of the whole damn thing and shoot it off to them. And they've got a full market analysis. We find clients love this because they can't get it anywhere. I've yet to meet the client who isn't interested in what their competitors are doing, who doesn't know how the market's going. And so that's what we build this for. We've got in here e-com data as well, so you can see all the price points of competitive products. Because we know in e-com, what products yours are seen against versus your competition matters. So we've captured it all in here with the review stars and that kind of thing.
Interesting.
So,
can you click on the schedule view? I'm just curious to see. You nailed something earlier about people turning off during X time of the day. Because clients always ask, like, when should I run my ads to? And my response always is, when are you reasonably going to answer a call where your wife isn't angry at you?
Yep.
And that's my
great answer. I like that.
The wife wants alone time or family time. They don't want a 7 o'clock phone call or whatever time that is. Some people don't care, and it's different for everybody. But
seriously, it's a competitive advantage.
Yep.
If you can so here's the thing. On the screen here, what you can see is by hour of day, how many unique advertisers we saw in the hour. And we only ran this job, as you can see, we ran it hourly for like 2.5 days. But even in that, it's quite apparent what's going on. Look at this during the daytime. 16, 20, 15, 14, 15. That's unique advertisers that we're seeing.
Yep.
Look what happens on an evening. 9, 12, 7, 6.
Yep.
There's 50% less or fewer different advertisers. So that means two things. Thing number one, that means that we've proven mathematically, because I've got a mathematician on staff, is that the deeper the pool of advertisers at any point, the higher the CPCs. It's like no shock.
Yep.
If you've got 30 advertisers in the auction versus 15, no surprise, it's more expensive. So we now know that on an evening, we have fewer competitors. That's thing number one that you want to be aware of. Thing number two is, let's look at who is advertising at certain times. So we said before, Invisalign were the big people. We said these were the guys who were spending the most. Let's see when their ad is being seen. And so we can see that we've only seen them on this particular one 3 different times. I'm assuming I've got a dollar filter in there, that's why. I thought that's not many.
Oh, sorry, that's not many. But
that's not many. They can't be that visible. There we go. So we know Invisalign are advertising 24/7.
Yep. ZocDoc is probably the same case, which are your
exactly.
Yep.
So we need to. What we're looking for is gaps in the schedule. We're looking for evenings, weekends, when our top competitors aren't there, or when the competitors that we are there have different messaging. So our ads are always on point, and we can look for those gaps. Because if I can go in a market at a time when there's half the competition, my client can save a bunch of money on clicks at that time. If they've got a message that stands out, imagine putting it in at 7 o'clock on an evening. We're here to take your call now. Call us live, special offer, yada yada. That's way more compelling than hitting a page and getting a call us back in the morning or leave a message.
Yep.
It's a genuine competitive advantage if you're prepared to use it.
One caveat, if you're going to run overnight hours, please have someone answering your calls. Do not let these calls go to voicemail.
Yeah, your caveat is absolutely correct. Do not do that, then let the calls go to waste because you'll waste money.
Yep.
In my Google days, we used to always turn ads on off on an evening if they couldn't answer them, because converting them the following day doesn't work very well.
Yep, exactly. I like it. So we've got, to kick things off, you got list building and outreach, or list building to outreach, and then you've got sales presentations, and then the Google Ads management side of things. What other bells and whistles you got cooking? Well, I think that's probably enough. It's quite a lot.
One thing I will give you a sneaky insight into that we've built at the moment, and it's not coming out till July. So just full disclosure, this does not exist yet. It is coming.
Okay.
We've built a Google Chrome extension that sits over your Google Ads account. So when you're in the account doing work, it will pull in your competitor ads. So you can write ads in real time, measured against your competition. And we've built a statistics model into it that can predict with so far a 72% accuracy whether the ad you're writing will get a higher click-through rate than the competitors you're competing against.
Wow.
So you can write ads and give yourself a head start on your competition, knowing that you've got a good chance of making it win.
Very cool.
Yeah, we thought so. It's kind of neat, isn't it?
That is very neat. What I got a request for you. Can you build something in around negative keywords? Is that, I mean, that's kind of counterintuitive to what your software does, but do you have any, I know this is probably something you've thought about in the past, but is there some way you could utilize the software to help mitigate the negative keyword side of things?
So Ad Lab doesn't. We have another tool called PPC Predict that does.
Okay.
Have I told you about this before?
No, I haven't heard of this.
So full disclosure, we're about to go rocket science level nerd here.
Okay.
Here's what PPC Predict does. Imagine I've got 100 dentist accounts.
Okay.
Each of them, because we're only running, say, 2K budgets a month, has, I don't know, 100 clicks, 150 clicks, probably spread across 50 different keywords.
Okay.
Teeny tiny data sets. Statistically, what can you do with it? Not a lot.
Yep.
But here's the thing. What if we found a way, taking those 100 Google Ads accounts, anonymizing them, jamming the data together in like one big virtual Google Ads account, analyzing that virtual Google Ads account and go, okay, show me all the search terms that haven't converted for anybody in any of these 100, and create me custom negative lists for every single account.
Wow, very cool.
That's what we've built. That's PPC Predict. That's our other, it's kind of like the partner software to this.
Got it.
It's a mathematical monster because we do n-gram analysis, if you're familiar with that, I'm sure you are. At this virtual Google Ads account level.
Got it.
It gets mind-blowing pretty quickly. It's taken me a long time to build it, but we have that in our back locker to supplement this. So for anybody who needs a better negative keyword process, again, it's a tool that has no direct like-for-like anywhere in the market.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna get that over to the team after we get off. I know Dustin from our team is using a negative tool. I don't remember what it is. I'll have to ask. But we'll have them hop onto this one.
Well, I've just worked on the basis that there is so much learning in similar accounts that you know how hard it is within a Google Ads account to be able to see the right level of data and mathematically process it accurately, consistently. Try doing that with 2 accounts together, then 3. And the Google doesn't have the data structures to allow you to do that very easily. So we followed our usual policy of we can't buy it, so screw it, we'll build it.
Got it.
So we built it for ourselves.
Nice. Very cool. Okay. I'm going to check that out after we get off. All right. What else you got cooking inside of PPC Ad Lab?
So in PPC Ad Lab at the moment, you've seen the main things we've got coming up. We are using, I'll tell you a couple of use cases that it is being for. We're simplifying our front end for a couple of very specific use cases that are very valuable, but and you can already do them. We're just simplifying the process. And they don't obviously jump off the page. So thing number one people are using it for is brand protection. Who's bidding on my brand? And what can I do about it? So we have a whole bunch of customers just running brand campaigns to find out who's brand bidding, doing outreach, contacting, asking nicely, competitor campaigns, those kind of things to try and understand and take control of their own branded message. So that's thing number one is branding. Thing number two is franchises. This is such a cool use case that we never even dreamt of when we built this tool, which was when you buy a franchise, obviously you typically get a location you're allocated, zip code 77043, for example. Well, if you've got neighbors in surrounding franchise areas, you're generally not allowed to bid in their area and they're not allowed to bid in yours.
Right.
Really hard to check it. Or it was. So we now run franchise compliance campaigns at scale for franchise chains now who are looking to police their franchisees to make sure they're not breaking their rules. And they usually are.
It's probably a 7-figure business right there, just franchise compliance.
Well, one for our franchise customers alone, they charge their franchisees $5,000 per incident where they get caught advertising in a competitor's territory.
Wow.
One of their franchisees got fined over $500,000 last year.
Wow.
And they had no way of policing it other than manually, which was practically impossible. By implementing Ad Lab, the savings they've made in A, finding people better, and B, legal fees and everything else. It's absolute no-brainer.
Wild.
So it's a cool use case that I never thought of.
Very cool. What else you got? What's the other one?
And that was two of them, brand, franchise. They're the two.
Got it. Awesome. Okay. What else you got cooking?
I think I'm running out.
Okay. So talk to me about.
If I look at my dev board, I've got a million things. At this precise moment, I've got a complete brain blank.
Right, that's okay. So talk to me about kind of the shift in pricing. We mentioned at the kickoff that you guys are changing pricing structures. Walk me through where it's at now with the pricing that we have, and then where it's going to as of June 30th, end of day. So
when we launched with a few pricing tiers, but our main pricing tier was our agency tier at $397. Okay. So that included all our features, basically. That's all the outreach, everything that you've seen today is in that agency package at $397.
Yep.
In order to support our partners and our supporters and people like you who've been good enough to tell the world about what we're building, we came up with a charter plan at $197 a month. Now, that charter plan had, A, it was half the price, but B, we added extra value into it. PPC Ad Lab, as you can see on my screen here, uses credits.
Yep.
So each time you do a Google search, each keyword, each location, each search uses a single credit. So in our charter plan, not only did we half the price, we increased the volume of credits that you got in the tool.
Got it.
So you can do more. It's effectively like a 60% off. To be respectful of our charter members and the people who've supported us, we said we would close that off at the end of the first year, which is 30th of June. That goes away, and the pricing to get the full suite becomes the agency pricing at $397.
Got it.
So it's effectively where we started, but the exceptions that we've made have gone away or are going away very, very shortly. What we're also doing, though, is we recognize I'm not a big fan of stick, and that feels a bit like beating people with a stick. I like carrot or chocolate, even better. So we figured, let's throw in some chocolate and some beer and some wine, and let's throw a party. So to celebrate our anniversary, we're throwing a party after you guys are back from the 4th of July holiday.
Okay.
On that, what we're doing is a series of guest live trainings guest special bonuses, and by the time you see this video, you'll be able to see some of them on our page, and so will be kept secret. So we're having a really good live event with trainings you cannot get anywhere else, with resources you cannot get anywhere else, to really give you, and some PPC Ad Lab swag, to give you the best experience we possibly can. We are stacking it as high as we can with value, with goodies, with exciting stuff, just to you to say thank you for joining us. So anybody who's a charter member on 30th of June will get the invite to that party. But that's the price of entry.
Got it. Okay. So the 197 price point is good till June, end of day, June 30th. After that, it moves to 397 a month.
Correct.
Okay, cool. All right. Anything else we should know?
I hope you love it. We really worked hard I'm delighted that people are surprised that this tool can do what it can do.
Mm-hmm.
I constantly get feedback from people going, holy crap, I didn't think you could do that. And now you can. And I'm equally proud of what it's become over the last 12 months. I'm equally excited about where it's going over the next 12 months, because we're going to be doing loads of cool stuff with this. Our dev team are getting better and better and better, and we're getting faster and faster. So yeah, if you want it, if that's the kind of thing you want to be able to use, get it while it's cheap. Because we do have to take it away, unfortunately.
Got it. All right. Well, I'm going to upload this to YouTube today, because we've got, I don't even know what day it is, 27th. So we've got a few days before the charter pricing goes away. Anything you want to leave off with?
I think we're good, Ed. I appreciate it, sir. And I hope this is a value add for you and your customers and your audience. And I look forward to serving you into the future.
Absolutely. All right. I'm going to have a link below with our charter pricing link below the video in the description. That's it for today. Have a great day, guys.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
All right.